How you do? We'll let you know.
Yeah, we'll see how
We'll
it
get
goes.
back to
It's
you.
an audition.
Yeah, hold on. Okay, ready?
Yeah.
Could you introduce yourself for the microphones, or
Hello.
to the microphones?
Hello, my name is Matt Ryan, and I play the voice of Constantine on the new Justice League Dark animation movie, which will be out next year. I think.
Excellent. Is this the first time you're doing that character?
No, it's not. I
My
had like
ignorance
a.
is just incredible. Yeah, go
I
ahead.
had a dream once that I kind of I went through this whole experience of like playing this guy every day, and I think that really stood me in good stead for doing the animation.
Yeah, there you go.
Collaborating with someone who was stuck on an island for 5 years.
That's right. Yeah. I didn't dream that, right? That was you.
Water.
Oh, thank you, darling.
So Matt, what is the difference between your television version of Constantine and the new animated version? Is the animated version closer to the comic book, or is it its own thing?
Well, I mean, it depends what comic books you look at. You know, if you're looking at the Hellblazer, the New 52, you know, the new Hellblazer. But I think that the DNA of the character is pretty much the same, and that's kind of, you know, I think why the guys wanted me to do the voice of him, hopefully. Yeah, I mean, what's really interesting is seeing him in this context, working with, interacting with these characters which we didn't get to explore on the TV show, you know, like Zatanna, Deadman, Batman, you know, that was real fun to do. But ultimately the DNA of the character is the same. It's just, you know, then you follow what story are we telling and kind of just try and be as true as possible to that and the director's vision.
Do you feel like almost like an ownership of this character coming back to play him again?
I mean, look, I love the character so much, you know, and I felt that there is so much more to explore with him. But with a character like this, you know, I just feel lucky enough to have got to play him, you know, and whoever goes on to play him, you know, will be very lucky too. I'm sure. I don't think you can kind of like take ownership over such a character like that. You know what I mean? It's like Batman. You can't, you know, in that way. So many different people play him, but I certainly like kind of. Throughout my journey with him, have fallen in love with him, love and hate relationship, as you can imagine, and kind of, and just to kind of get to play him again and put on the kind of, you know, the metaphorical trench coat. You know, I didn't actually get to wear it because I was in a booth, but I was thinking about taking in a trench coat with me just to wear, but no, I didn't do that. But yeah, no, it's great to just explore it again, man, and I feel lucky and blessed to kind of to have you know had a chance to play him, really.
I think it's actually very big that you are doing it. I think if somebody else, you know, it would feel kind of funny, actually.
Right. Oh, great. Thank you. Appreciate that.
How did you prepare for the voice role of Constantine? Because you don't have to physically act as him.
Well, you do still, you know, physicalize it. The main difference is the actors aren't in the room, you know. But I've done a lot of theatre, and I played Edward Kenway in Assassin's Creed Black Flag, that video game. But most of that was motion capture. We only spent a couple of days in the studio. But I mean, I kind of prepared for it in the way I'd prepare for anything else. Really, is just kind of trying to figure out, you know, the ins and outs and the psychology of the character and what he wants and what he's trying to do and all that stuff, and then kind of just lose yourself in this imaginary world in a booth in a studio and just play. And that's what was so fun about it, man. Those guys are great, you know, and the whole team were great. And just to kind of like lose yourself in that imaginary world. It's like when you do motion capture, you know, none of the stuff you use is there. It's all on the green screen. So, you know, you have sticks with dots on them, and that stick is a gun, that stick is a sword, and it's like you kind of really have to delve into that piece of your imagination, like when you were a kid and you were running around the beach and, you know, like you found a stick and it was a gun and you were shooting people and stuff. And so it's like really going into that part of your imagination, and this was very much like that, if not more so, because you didn't have people to kind of, you know, react against.
How do you think this version of Constantine will work or fit into this group, this Justice League Dark?
It's great, isn't he? Because he's always like the reluctant anti-hero. He doesn't want to do it. It's like just I don't, you know, he doesn't want to get involved with that shit. You know, he just rather, you know, run away from stuff or hide away from it. I mean, but they need him. That's what's interesting about him. The Justice League see that, there's some stuff going on that they can't handle, and then Batman has to, through Deadman, they go and kind of get Constantine, and eventually he kind of takes up the mantle to lead them, because he has the most knowledge of the arcane and the world of magic and stuff, and kind of, tries to help them and lead them along the way.
Would you like to play him on the big screen, like next to Affleck?
No, of course not. Why would I want to do that?
Because I know that the
What do you think?
Because I know
The money would be good.
They tend to separate because you've been him on TV,
Yeah.
you've been him in the animated world. If you were to play him next to the cinematic versions of the characters, do you believe that there would be some confusion? Like, because there is your mix
He'd have to be
is an
different,
Arrow
Yeah, exactly. He'd have to be different, But you could forget the Arrow world and just put him into that world, and like get Constantine to kind of like, yeah.
Because you can curse and you can, really like go.
Yeah, man. Well, that's the thing about the TV show, isn't it? It's like, look, it's for network television. Like all the stuff that I really love about the character is all those Hellblazer issues. That really dark shit that the character has, which, in a way, you can't really. Well, for me it was all there, and that's kind of what I try to root it in all the time, that reality. But you don't necessarily get to explore it in that way that you could in a movie, or if the show was on cable, for instance. Do you know what I mean? Where you can be smoking and fucking and swearing and just like real dirty, like he is in some of the Hellblazer issues, where he's just like, but yeah, no, it's I don't know.
Would you do if they let you? Because I know NBC has there's an NBC Fox. Fox has the Lucifer show.
All right.
Would you like to see a Constantine Lucifer, like television collaboration?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because I've heard like all these kind of rumors. What's great, man, is like, look, it's such an iconic character, and for like to be accepted by the hardcore fans of Hellblazer is like, that's the fucking greatest achievement, I think, of the show. And even though I think we were prematurely cancelled and we were just getting somewhere, it's like, we could have gone to a lot more other places, but just to kind of have gotten that from the fans has been fucking amazing for me. Do you know what I mean? Because we could have been cancelled after 13, but it could have been because of me. You know what I mean? It could have been because everyone's like, who the fuck is this guy playing this character? But it made me feel better about the show being cancelled, for one, because I'm like, thank God I did all right, But to play him in any context, again, is something I'd love to do, because there's so much of the character to explore, and so many depths and so many different storylines to explore that's what's great about doing this, is to do him in this medium. It's like to get a chance to have another crack of the whip at him is great. And I did feel like there was slightly unfinished business. We were just kind of getting somewhere with the show, and so yeah.
I had the pleasure a few years ago of seeing you on stage here in this city at the old Studio 54.
Oh, did you? Oh,
And
shit.
You just blew me away.
Oh, thanks, man.
It was great to see you in a different medium, and one that you have great command over. I certainly hope you're doing more and being out there.
Yeah. I'll be looking to. I try to keep, because I have a big theatre background. I spent like 3 years at the Royal. Yeah, and so I always love to do it. I mean, it's my favourite medium to work in, really. I mean, for about 6 months, and then you're like, get me in front of the camera. It's like, but yeah, I always try and keep my foot in, man, and keep those muscles flexed as well, because it's a completely different beast. And that was a tough play, man. I mean, I think for the audience as well, it was very morose, and it wasn't, a very joyful experience for the audience, I think. But that's what it was, and it's one of the great literary pieces of its time in terms of the novel and stuff. But yeah, I'd certainly love to do some more theatre stuff down the road.
Whatever problems it had, you were not one of them.
There we
thank
go.
you.
It wasn't canceled because of you.
Right.
But since not all of us were with you, what is the play?
It was called Therese Racan, which is based on a novel by Emile Zola that was written in 18 something. I can't remember now.
You can make up anything. We
Yeah, I
wouldn't
think
know.
it was 1868 actually.
Okay, yeah.
No, but and it's basically what went on to inspire plays like Hedda Gabler and all the plays where there was like a tragic woman heroine, and it's kind of kind of dark, murder, incest, double suicides, fun night at the theatre for everyone. 8 nights a week of that,
That's
3 months,
entertainment.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah, exactly.
how long ago did you record for this movie, and how long did it take you?
This took about, I think, a day, 2 days? 2
That's
days?
all?
No,
Okay.
maybe longer.
Yeah.
But what was funny is a bunch of people, once they announced that they were doing it, a bunch of people were like, wouldn't it be great if we can get Matt Ryan to do the voice? And I couldn't say that I'd already done it.
Oh,
And I
there
was
you
just
go.
like, oh yeah, that'd be cool. Maybe if they call me. And I'd already recorded it, which is kind of fun, But yeah, because they like put you on a leash with these things where you can only say things at certain times.
Living
But
that double superhero life already.
exactly, yeah.
So
yeah.
once you're part of the family, there's, I would imagine in the contract there's possibilities of more.
Well, nothing to do with the contract, but I mean, I'd certainly be up for doing more. And you know what? I'd actually be up for doing more other animation stuff as well. Like, what I found is I wanted to kind of play the demons as well. Because you're like a kid, man, in a school box, and all those those voices that you used to do, or all the voice work that I used to do, and different accents and stuff. It's just fun to play, It's
Yeah.
just like a real good, interesting artistic place to kind of play around in,
Yeah, the world seems to be animation and superheroes now. So
It does, doesn't it? Yeah.
Do you find it more difficult as an actor? It's one thing to work with somebody on screen, but to not have somebody there, just be in a booth and act, you find it more difficult to find where your emotion should be or where your character should be?
Yeah, I think that it's ultimately more useful if you've got someone to bounce off. But again, as I was saying, you go to that place in your imagination where you can just you choose someone. I chose someone in my head to be Zatanna and Batman, and do you know what I mean? All these people, I cast it myself in my head, and then I'm playing with those people in my head. It's basically making yourself go mad for a couple of days. Do you know what I mean? And then recording you, which is kind of fun. But yeah, it is ultimately it's a different skill and a different medium, but one that's actually really freeing as well. I think once you get into it,
Have you had a chance to see the DVD?
Yeah. It's darker than I thought, man. It is, yeah. There's a good few swear words in there, and there's a little bit of blood and guts and stuff, and you got that. It's pretty much all action with the horror element to it as well, But I think that for me, the funnest thing is the relationships between the characters. That's the ultimate thing that was the most fun for me anyway to kind of explore.
There was a lot of gold to mine in him. That's really only scratched the surface.
I know. Yeah. Oh, there's so much. Yeah. All those comic books. Do you know what I mean? That there's so much there. And
Conveyed that he had different layers.
oh, thank you. Yeah. I mean, we try, but it's ultimately as well. Especially in episodic television. You've got to try and do what the story is. Tell that story. And then at the same time, bring that stuff up from underneath it, especially sometimes if it's not written yet.